So the Sooners got themselves a nice little battle coming with a particular top 5-star linebacker in the country. The best part for us Sooner fans is that he has one visit planned for this spring, and that's Norman. Let's talk about Sammy Brown coming up here in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. Thanks for pulling up to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to chop it up about Sammy Brown, 5-star linebacker out of Jefferson, Georgia, who has one planned visit this spring, and he's going to be coming to Norman, Oklahoma. But before we do that, you know the drill. Hop in the comments, let your boy know. Do you think Coach Venables can land this prospect? I definitely want to get your thoughts and opinions up front before we dive into the player. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification. You know we're dropping a bunch of college football content. We are in the quiet period, so we're going to get a bunch of prospect offer videos and stuff out the door so you guys know who to look out for over the next few months as we continue this 2024 cycle. Actually, as we begin this 2024 cycle, and so you don't want to miss anything that's dropping. Outside of that, let's jump into Sammy Brown. I went over some of his film, looked through some of his stats. My goodness, this kid's a prospect. He's definitely something that I know is a priority for Coach Venables, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But let's talk about Sammy first. I want to go over his measurables and ratings. We'll look at a little bit of film, and I want to end everything explaining why I think Coach Venables has a chance and what may hurt him in this recruiting cycle. So let's start off with this. Sammy Brown. Let's take a gander at him. Sammy, 5-star, top roughly 15 player in the country, 6'2.5", about 225 pounds, out of Jefferson, Georgia. The big thing about him is all the blue bloods are fighting for him. Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, now Oklahoma, Georgia. He's coveted by a lot of the big schools, so that tells you just how talented he is. I think the thing that jumps out the most about him is that he's a track star. He's fast, he's strong, and he's an athlete. He wrestles. He ran a 10.70 in the 100 in the Georgia High School State sectionals for Jefferson High School in Jefferson, Georgia. So you know he's got them speeds and he's got them wheels, and we're going to look at some film at him in just a minute, especially with him playing running back. Oh, my goodness. You don't want to miss that part. But outside of that, it looks like Sammy is really locked in on the schools that he has. I'm expecting a top 5 or 6 to drop soon out of him. I don't have any insider information on that, but I do expect it because really the schools that he's keyed in on, he's starting to do his visits. The only one he has not visited yet is Norman. He hasn't been to Norman, Oklahoma yet. And that's because Coach Venables was recruiting him heavily at Clemson. So he spent a lot of time at Clemson. He was at their Elite Junior Day. And he also has spent some time at Georgia for the national championship. Ohio State's gotten some visits out of him. I think he's gotten about 5 visits from roughly everybody but Oklahoma. But now that Coach Venables is in Norman, that's the place he wants to. So Steve Wiltfong over at 24/7's the main guy in the director of recruiting had an article up talking about him making that visit. So he's spent time at all these places. He's actually visited Coach Venables when he was at Clemson back in his freshman and sophomore year. So he knows those campuses, he knows those areas, but he's pretty excited about making a trip to Norman and hanging out with Coach BV and the staff. And as you see in this film that's running behind me, he's fast. He hits the holes. He can hit. He's a hammer. I'm definitely going to drop a short on this just so you all can just watch him hit people. Yeah, he can hit. Look at him. He can run. He's fast. He can hit. All the stuff you want out of your linebacker and your running back, he's got it. And with him being a prospect at linebacker position, that speed, and you bulk him up, if he can maintain most of that speed, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with long term. And so Sammy is somebody that I know is on the priority list. The best part is that we're actually in contention. We're part of the warm people. We're part of the teams that all the recruiting experts think actually has a chance. And that, to me, is a testament of what Coach Brent Venables is doing here at Oklahoma. He's putting Oklahoma in those conversations and keeping those conversations going. Remember, we've been in conversations. The question is about keeping it. He's maintaining that status quo here for you Sooner fans. And so this is why I believe Coach Venables has a really good chance of getting Mr. Brown here to Oklahoma. It's mainly his history, his recruiting history, and his track record of getting players to the league and getting top talent to the schools and then producing. And so my boy PG over at the PG Show dropped some nice nuggets about some players that Coach Venables had basically recruited and built up at Clemson as well as at Oklahoma in the past. And so that's something that tells me we've got a chance. And so let's take a look at this list. We got Barrett Carter, 5-star linebacker at Clemson right now. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., 4-star linebacker at Clemson, and he's expected to be a first-round pick with 104 total tackles and 7.5 sacks with 2 interceptions. I know you all remember Austin Box. We talked about him in the past. Rest in peace. Austin was a monster coming out of Enid, and Coach Venables was his recruiter. He came in at 4-star, and in his 3 seasons there, 106 total tackles with some interceptions, 12.5 tackles for a loss. Austin Box was a force to be reckoned with. He was one of those players that they forced doubles and they watched him on the field because he's that disruptive, and that's what you want. Then going down here, Ronell Lewis, 4-star linebacker at Oklahoma, and then of course Trey Lamar, 4-star linebacker at Clemson. Looking up these names, and then you can add in another player like an Isaiah Simmons, who was a 3-star coming out of the state of Kansas all the way into Clemson and became the number 8 pick in the 2020 draft. And he's the one that everybody's modeling their cheetahs after. He's that player that can play at all 3 phases and show out because he's a terror because you need to know where he's at on the field. And a lot of times you have no clue where the heck that boy is going to be. So he's one of those. And then our newest coach on the staff, James Skalski, 3-star linebacker at Clemson, but he finished with over 250 tackles for his career. 132 of those were solos with 8.5 sacks at linebacker at Clemson. He was doing monstrous stuff. And so Coach Venables has that track record. And remember, this is the position that Coach Venables coaches. And so because of that, this is the position he's coached for so long. He has an eye for really good talent. You'll see what Jaren Cannock's going to do next year. Same thing with Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie. When you get those players out there underneath Venables, underneath Schmitty's system of physical training, boy, there is a chance. And so I actually believe the Sooners have a good chance for this one. I would not blow smoke at you on every prospect, the ones that we're offering and that are prospects to us. I'll tell you, I don't see it. This one, I think we have a chance. Even at his high rank, we were in the running for a lot of other players as well. Doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but I think we have a good chance. I think we can finish up in at least the top 3 for this player. And if Coach Venables can seal the deal and close it off, boy, y'all are going to be stoked. Y'all are going to be stoked because I think he can be a game changer, especially with us moving into the SEC a year early in 2024. So got to start building up that stable of athletes and get that depth. That way we can walk in there and, compete day one. Thanks, y'all, for pulling up as usual here on the channel. Hop in the comments. Let me know what you think about Sammy Brown now that you see him. Give me some more details. I love to see those 2 comments from you all, and I try to get to every single one. I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it now, especially as I'm dropping more content and running from video to video. We're going to try to stay busy and definitely keep the engagement and talking. And we'll build this community one brick at a time. If you're new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification, and join the family. We would love to have you. And with that, we'll chop it up probably in a day or 2. Y'all enjoy the Super Bowl. Peace. Oh, yeah. YouTube's got videos for y'all to watch right here.